Welcome to the deep dive. So you're wondering how a non-resident, someone not living in California, can actually get a permit to carry a concealed weapon there.
Right. California's known for having pretty strict gun laws, generally speaking.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a way, specifically through Riverside County, and we've gathered the details you need. We're drawing from sources like the non-resident CCW guide, some audio clips from Riverside CCWOnline.mp3, and also their website, riversideccwownline.com.
And it's interesting because Riverside County, well, it really stands out. It's seen as more, let's say, CCW friendly for non-residents.
Uh-huh.
A lot of that seems to come down to the current sheriff, Chad Bianco, and his pro-Second Amendment stance. It makes Riverside a key place for non-residents to look into.
Right. So that's our mission for this deep dive. Break down the process step by step for you if you're outside California but want that CCW permit. Okay, let's jump in. First step seems to be an online course. A pretty long one, 12 hours.
That's right. It's mandatory for everyone applying. A 12-hour online training course, and crucially, it has to be approved by the California Department of Justice, the DOJ.
Okay, DOJ approved. And the sources point towards riversideccwownline.com. They handle this.
Yeah, they, along with Riverside CCW training, seem to be the main provider mentioned.
And is it just like reading text for 12 hours or?
No, it sounds more involved. They talk about instructor-led videos featuring John Galletta. He's a DOJ and NRA certified instructor.
Okay.
They mention real-world scenario analysis, digital ebooks, guides in English and Spanish, that sort of thing.
And you can do it on your own time, like mobile-friendly 24/7 access.
Exactly. Self-paced, accessible whenever you need it. The main goal here, the thing you walk away with, is a certificate of completion.
Ah, okay. Issued by this instructor, John Galletta.
Yes, and you absolutely need that certificate. It's sort of the entry ticket for the online application part. Shows you've done the basic required training.
Gotcha. Okay, certificate in hand. Step 2. This sounds interesting. Live fire qualification, but maybe not in California.
Right. This is a key point for non-residents. You have to prove you're proficient with every single firearm you want to list on your permit. You can list up to 6.
6, okay.
But you can potentially do this qualification shooting part in your home state. You don't necessarily have to travel to California just for that.
That's definitely more convenient, but I assume you can't just have anyone watch you shoot. There must be rules about the instructor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The instructor for this live fire part has to be certified, either NRA, National Rifle Association, or USCCA. That's the United States Concealed Carry Association.
NRA or USCCA certified.
Yeah, they'll give you another certificate, a live fire qualification certificate, and that one. You'll need to upload it when you do the main online application later.
Okay. Or you could do it in California with Riverside CCW training if you preferred.
Yes, that's mentioned as an alternative if it fits your plans better.
Right. So you've got the course certificate, the live fire certificate. Now it's application time. Online, I gather.
Precisely. Step 3 is heading to the Riverside County CCW portal online. That's where you upload those 2 certificates we just talked about,
Right.
plus a form listing the specific firearms you qualified with and, your ID documents. Standard stuff.
And it's probably not just uploading, right? Fees, appointments.
Correct. You'll pay the application fee right there online. And importantly, this is also when you schedule a video interview.
A video interview. Okay. With who?
With an investigator from the Sheriff's Department.
What do they want to know in this interview? Do you need to, prep for it?
Well, it's done over a video call. They'll want to discuss your lawful reason for wanting to carry in California. Why do you need it?
Okay.
They'll also gauge your familiarity with California's specific CCW laws, and they'll likely go over the firearms you listed. It's really the investigator reviewing your application and asking some fundamental questions.
And assuming that goes well.
If you pass the interview, yeah, you get the green light to proceed to the next step.
Which is?
Fingerprints. But kind of the old-fashioned way.
Ink on cards. Not digital.
Seems so. Step 5 involves completing 2 physical fingerprint cards. They specify the FD258 card format.
FD258, okay.
And then you have to physically mail those cards to the Sheriff's Department.
Mail them in. Do they help you figure out where to get that done? Finding someone to do the fingerprinting.
Yeah, the sources say they provide instructions and can help you find a local place in your area that can handle those FD258 cards correctly.
Okay, good. So recap. Online course, done. Live fire, qual, done. Online application and interview, done. Fingerprints mailed. Step 6 is waiting.
Step 6 is the waiting period, yes. Once they have those fingerprint cards, The Sheriff's Department does a full background check. They verify all your documents, your qualifications, everything you submitted.
And if it all checks out.
Then finally, your California non-resident CCW permit is approved and mailed to you.
Mailed. Okay. How long does that waiting part usually take? Are we talking weeks, months?
The official line seems to be up to 120 days after they've received everything, all the documents and those fingerprint cards.
120 days. Wow, okay. So patience is definitely needed there.
For the standard process, yes.
Now, you mentioned earlier why Riverside County is sort of a focal point for this. Can you expand on that? What makes it stand out?
Well, connecting back to Sheriff Bianco, the leadership there has taken a very clear pro-Second Amendment stance, relatively speaking, for California.
Uh-huh.
And that's translated into what's described as a more streamlined, more accessible process for non-residents compared to maybe some other counties in California known for being much tougher on CCW issuance.
So more efficient, maybe clearer guidelines?
Seems to be the case. The information suggests an active effort to, support responsible gun owners and make the process less opaque.
And a really key point. If you get this permit from Riverside County, it's good throughout California, right? Not just in that county.
That's a huge advantage. Yes, a valid CCW permit issued by Riverside is legally recognized across the state, wherever firearms carry is legally allowed, of course.
Okay. So just to nail down the basic eligibility for a non-resident wanting to go through Riverside,
Yeah.
what are the core requirements?
Sure. You need to be at least 21. You have to be a U.S. citizen or a legal resident. You absolutely have to pass the criminal background check.
Right.
You need to demonstrate what they call good moral character.
Good moral character. What does that usually entail?
Generally, it means looking at your history. Are you law-abiding, responsible, no major red flags that suggest you shouldn't be carrying a firearm?
Okay. Makes sense. And the training course we already talked about.
And completion of that approved California CCW training course, yes. Those are the main pillars.
Now, navigating all that, especially from out of state, it sounds like it could be complicated. The sources mentioned something called concierge application services. What's that about?
Yeah, this is interesting. Recognizing that it can be complex for non-residents, Riverside CCW Online apparently offers this concierge service. It's available 7 days a week.
Like extra help.
Pretty much. Think of it as dedicated hand-holding through the whole process.
So what do they actually do for you?
It's quite a list, actually. They help review and prepare your documents before you submit them, which is huge.
Yeah, avoids mistakes.
Right. They can help match you with a qualified instructor in your local area for that live fire part. They give you clear instructions for the fingerprinting and mailing.
Okay.
They offer assistance with prepping for the video interview, even help scheduling it, basically making sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted to avoid delays.
Sounds comprehensive. Do they help with the online portal too? Filling things out?
Yes, help with navigating the portal itself, coordinating fingerprints and any photos needed, doing a final thorough review before you hit submit. It's really personalized guidance to make sure you get everything right, legally and procedurally.
Okay, the big question then. Does using this concierge thing actually make it faster? You mentioned 120 days standard waiting time.
Well, according to the information we have, if you use the concierge service and everything is submitted correctly right off the bat, they suggest non-resident permits might be processed in roughly 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Compared to potentially 120 days, that's quite a difference.
It's a significant potential reduction of wait time.
The instructor you mentioned earlier, John Galletta, his name pops up a lot in relation to the training and the website. What's his story? Why is he central to this?
Well, John Galletta brings a pretty extensive background to the table. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran. He holds multiple relevant certifications, California DOJ-CCW Instructor, POST certified, NRA certified.
Okay.
And he has reportedly over 4 decades of experience in this field.
40 years. Wow.
Yeah, and some notable achievements, too, like being the highest scoring marksman ever at the Riverside County Sheriff's Academy's Palm Desert campus, and a counterterrorism operation response instructor.
That is quite the resume. Definitely sounds like he knows his stuff, both theory and practice.
It certainly suggests a deep level of expertise. He's trained thousands of people, apparently, and is a strong supporter of Second Amendment rights. And there's something else mentioned that adds a very real-world perspective. He actually survived a violent armed attack himself back in 2023. Yeah. And that experience, surviving something like that, likely gives him some very unique insights that he brings into the training, things like situational awareness, decision-making under extreme stress, things you can't just get from a textbook. He's also the founder of Riverside CCW Training.
That definitely adds weight to the instruction. Okay, so let's try to wrap this up for you, the listener. If you're
Mm.
a non-resident eyeing a California CCW,
Uh-huh.
Riverside County seems to be the most viable route currently discussed. The process involves that 12-hour DOJ-approved online course, often through riversideccwonline.com, associated with John Galletta.
Right.
Then the live fire qualification, which you might be able to do locally with an NRA or USCCA instructor.
Correct. Upload those certificates.
Upload those, do the online application, pay the fee, schedule, and complete the video interview with the sheriff's investigator.
Don't forget mailing in the 2FD258 fingerprint cards.
Right, mail fingerprints. And then you wait. Up to 120 days standard, potentially much faster, maybe around 6 weeks, if you use their concierge service effectively.
That seems to be the gist of it, yes.
Yeah.
The online training aspect and the potential for home state live fire are definitely convenient factors for non-residents. And that concierge service, if it delivers on that faster timeline, could be a really valuable option for navigating the bureaucracy.
So considering all this detail about getting a permit in one specific county and the fact that rules vary so much, here's a final thought to leave you with. What are the wider implications when concealed carry laws differ so much from state to state? How does that impact you, the individual, trying to travel legally and safely across state lines while armed? It's a complicated picture out there.
Funny.
For joining us for this deep dive.